I feel like when I started to become an MMA fighter, when I started training with James, because that's when James is a very good coach.
Fighting in high row as well, and with my debut in the PFL being in Scotland, the bagpipes and stuff like that, and the Scottish flags.
Growing up, I would never in a million years have predicted that this is what I would be doing. It's very different than what my childhood was like.
I'm just trying to focus on the job at hand. I'm going to relish in the celebrations and winning this fight.
I had 30 pro fights, some kickboxing fights, some amateur fights as well. I think I had 65 fights in total. First fight was 2003, last fight was 2000, and professional MMA fight was 2013. It was pretty much the Wild West at the start. Weight classes weren't strict, the rules were different from show to show. You were turning up, there was some guys were wearing amateur gloves, some guys were wearing pro gloves. There was obviously no checks on records. The shows started getting a little bit better as the sport started to grow in general, and some of the major promotions started coming to the UK. There was a knock-on effect where it just made everything a wee bit more professional. 2008 it started getting a little bit more professional run, I think, when some of the major promotions started coming to the UK and putting on bigger shows. And then gradually it's kind of self-organised itself a wee bit to the level it's at now, where there's more professional kind of full-time gyms, giving guys the opportunity to kind of compete professionally. Things that you take for granted now weren't in place back then. The medical staff wasn't there. There wasn't provisions for guys getting injured. The logistics and stuff like that, they were booking venues that weren't suitable for fight shows. They were overcrowded, overselling it. Sometimes they were maybe overestimating how many tickets would be sold, and it was just really a bunch of guys trying to figure it out. Pretty much the same as the rest of the UK, I suppose. I think now that, especially in Scotland, that there's been shows in the same arenas as the big boxing shows and stuff like that. The perception now is it is a legitimate sport, and the athletes in the gyms and stuff tend to get respected a wee bit more now. Whereas before, if you told somebody you're a professional MMA fighter, they wouldn't think you're a professional athlete. Whereas now they're kind of viewed as professional athletes. They're the same as any other sport, really. We've had a couple of waves of talent coming through, breaking through, obviously going on past regional level to international level and also world level. And there's been standards kind of set with the first generation or the second generation of the fighters. And I think what you're seeing now is some of these younger guys coming through, early 20s and stuff, spending more time at amateur. They've obviously got the amount of knowledge that came from the generations past, they're getting that passed on to them, so the coaching's better than it was previously. So the current crop of fighters coming through in Scotland, probably the younger guys, maybe up to the age of 25 and stuff like that, potential to surpass what the Scottish fighters have already done so far, which has been co-maining and main eventing the biggest shows in the world. So I think what the next kind of step is going to be these guys probably fighting for titles and stuff like that, and getting into title contention in these promotions.
Control, halfway, long, then move away.
I feel like when I first started MMA, this MMA scene was quite quiet. I started MMA when I was 13 years old. So the local gym when I first started, when I first switched over, a lot of my friends didn't know what I was doing. Everybody was even when I try to explain to people, everybody just kind of thought it as a street fight. So I found that was the days when I feel like people had one attributes, but over the years I've seen Scottish, even MMA just overall grow. And so in big now you've seen a lot of athletic guys, you've seen a lot of young kids coming into the gym and they're 16, 17 and they're all well-rounded already, which is just very scary. And as well, for me, I feel like guys like Stevie Ray and stuff like that have really been pioneers of the Scottish MMA. I've trained with Stevie since a very young age, and just to see that much he's grown and how much he's brought the sport on over in Scotland as well has just been absolutely fantastic. And just to be on the same card as him in Glasgow, while it's going to be his last fight, it's an honour as well. I feel like when I started to become an MMA fighter, when I started training with James, because that's when James is a very good coach, and he started putting the knowledge together and kind of piecing everything together for me. And I feel as well then, there was no much kids my age local around in the UK that was fighting MMA, and I was 100 kilos. So I was a big guy, so it was like if I had to fight, I was going to fight a grown man. I was going to be so. I never really got to fight when I was younger, so I had to kind of like wait. So now the older I went out until I got to like 17, 18, then when I was like kind of fell out, then that's when James felt comfortable to start putting me in there so I can fight with people like older. But as that happened, my weight started coming down. And actually, like I got a lot of skinny, so like I could fight people like roughly my own age and stuff as well. But even like I feel like when we first started, like there wasn't much shows around. There was nothing. Like the only shows you had was like Cage Warriors, UFC. Like that was like the kind of like the blueprints. Even like local MMA shows, there was not much around. There was not much talent. But like now, there's so much opportunities for guys like us. Like for me to only be like coming up in my third pro career and be signed to have company like PFL, I never thought that was going to be possible. Like I thought I was going to be like 10, 11 fights deep before I could start thinking anything like that. So just to see the big difference and opportunity that they're giving people now is just incredible. I remember James actually told me it was at training. We finished sparring on Friday. He told me I think PFL are coming to Glasgow and we're going to get you and Lorenzo and stuff like that on the card. And I was like, for me, I was like, yes. Then he sent me I thought it was going to be a one-fight deal, but then he sent me like, do you want to sign your multi-fight contract and stuff like that. Like, he sent me all the details. I was like, are you okay with this? I was like, I didn't have to think twice for me. I was like, this is the opportunity. This is what I've been training for all my life. So as soon as that came on, and like, it's just it was too good to be true. As soon as it happened, I grabbed the opportunity with both hands.
I grew up in 𝗘𝗨𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗘 my whole life, still live there now, with my mum and my sister and brother who grew up. Now it's just me and my sister and brother, got a really small family. We all still live in 𝗘𝗨𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗘. Growing up, I actually did dancing growing up, that's what I did. But yeah, it was alright. It's like I grew up in like a pretty decent area. My mum was a teacher too, same as me, so yeah, not maybe like the easiest of childhoods, but it was good. Growing up, I would never in a million years have predicted that this is what I would be doing. It's very different than what my childhood was like. I actually never started doing MMA till like not even 4 years ago. My friends are all getting like right into it now. They've been watching all the pay-per-views and stuff, my last few fights, so I've said this time for the Hydro I'll have like people can come to watch, because I've always said no one's allowed to come and watch me so far, but a lot of my friends are coming this time. They're all, I would say they're the kind of main cheerleaders I've got. They're all like buzzing about it, and I wasn't keen on the idea, but now I'm a bit like, it'll be really nice to like come out the cage and have those people there, which I've never had before. So I just actually only joined higher level recently, just after my last amateur fight. I had been training here just on Sundays. They have a fighter session, and my old gym was 𝗟𝗘𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗘𝗦 in 𝗘𝗨𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗑𝗏, like just where I live. So there's no pros there, it's just amateur really, and so kind of decided to make the move. Just my coach from my old gym and I kind of decided it was probably best to start training somewhere where there's more pros and stuff. It's a bit of a trek for me. It's like an hour's drive to get here, but it's definitely worth it because there's loads of like high level pros. Obviously you've got like the ones that are Israel that are on the show, like Mark Ewan, Lorenzo, 𝗘𝗨𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗘, high level amateurs here too that are good for me to train with, and people kind of more my size too. As if it was yesterday, I was like in here training, and James had said to me, oh, someone from PFL is going to message you about fighting in the Hydro, and I was just like, oh, that's cool, like thanks, see you later. Went out to my car and I was like halfway home and I was like, oh my god, like I don't think I've actually processed this till now. And I was like, wait a minute, like that's going to be pro, that's the Hydro. And then I just kind of freaked out about it, and then went home and was like, oh my god, like this is pretty cool. And then obviously I had a few days to like process it, and I kind of had that whole thing of like, oh, maybe it will not happen, maybe it's just like, kind of came in, spoke to 𝗘𝗨𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗘 and Lorenzo. They were also signing at the same time as me, and like found out it was like a multi-fight deal and stuff, and it just like, it's amazing. I think like it would have been amazing anyway, but the fact that the first fight is on the Hydro card is amazing. Like being at Glasgow for the first fight, that's the closest to home I've ever fought, and it's for my pro debut, and it's on like a big show at PFL. Like just couldn't really get any better than that, so I'm really excited. I definitely think that it seems there's a lot more opportunities elsewhere than what there is in Scotland, but with the level of fighters that are coming out of Scotland, and hopefully like with promotions like PFL, get a few more people even interested in it. The more that are interested in it, the more people that go to it, and then hopefully some more opportunities for people. But I definitely appreciate the fact that although it might have came in the future at a different time, like the fact that PFL's coming to Glasgow has definitely opened doors for us like to be signed just now, which is amazing. So I'm hoping like that means if PFL say come back to Glasgow in the near future, there'll be other fighters that might get the same opportunities as us, which would be amazing.
I grew up in Edinburgh, a little place called Broomhouse, so it was a rough council estate. I grew up with 4 brothers and a little sister in a 3-bedroom flat with a single mum. So it was quite tough growing up for me. Well, I found MMA when I was about 16, so I was still kind of going out with my friends at this point. And when I found MMA, it would start out where I would go to the gym like a couple of times a week, and then I'd go out with my friends a couple of times a week, and then eventually it got to the point where I was training MMA every single day, and like I was on a different path with all my friends and all these other people that I was hanging around with. I'm half Italian, so like my dad's Italian, and my mum's Scottish. But it does feel good being Scottish. Like it is something special. Like fighting in hydro as well, and with my debut in the PFL being in Scotland, it is going to be something great. Like the bagpipes and stuff like that, and like the Scottish flags. Like I'm into all that stuff, and that gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Something every young up-and-coming fighter would dream of, especially so early on in their professional career. So it means a lot to me, but I'm focused on the task at hand, and that is eliminating my opponent. Back when I was an amateur, I remember Stevie was fighting for the PFL $1 million, and that really inspired me. And as an up-and-coming amateur, I saw that and I thought I want to be there one day.
Come back, he can submit him. Oh, there's a tap! The twister! Stevie Ray gets the finish and secures himself a playoff spot!
I would say that inspired me a lot. Stevie, as well, Dylan Took. I've been over to corner him in Paris, watch him fight. So he's inspired me a lot, and also Mark as well, Mark Ewan.
Cheers off the dead, man!
I was 16 when I went into my first MMA gym, and I just kind of knew right away that this is my thing. This is where I'm going to be able to look after my family. This is the urge I'm looking for, the discipline, the everything, the authority, just everything that a martial arts gym gives you. That's exactly what I needed, and it's totally changed who I am. Like the person that I was before martial arts, unrecognisable, like totally different people. I had 2 older brothers from different dads, so they were white. My mum was white, single parent. I was the only kind of black kid, obviously, in the family, the only black kid in the estate, so I stood out a lot. I never liked it when I was younger. I actually hated it. If I was in trouble and the police were looking for guys, they knew where to go. They knew if they seen the black kid with the afro, they know where he lives, they'd come to my house and be like, it's this guy, do you know what I mean? I was always sticking out, and I actually hated it when I was younger. I just wanted to fit in, really. I felt like I needed to look after myself, do you know what I mean? So I did, and that's how I ended up getting in trouble or fighting, and then making a name for myself, and then kind of going down that route.
Fighting out of Polmont, Scotland, Mark
It means a lot. I've always wanted to represent my country. I've always wanted to do well and represent Scotland. Show that I am a patriotic Scottish person. I mean, I love this country. So it means a lot to me to fight in the hydro. It means a lot to me to fight anywhere and have a Scottish flag with me and represent my country, because I am Scottish. I might be half Nigerian, my dad's Nigerian, but I know where I was born. I know who I am. I know what streets made me. Do you know what I mean? I know what made me, and it's Scotland, and it always will be. It has a special place in my heart, and I really want to go on and represent my country in the best way I can. If I'm totally honest with you, mate, I'm not overlooking the job at hand. That's what I'm totally focused on. I need to go in there and I need to win this fight. That is my main focus. Regardless of it being a young boy from the back arse of nowhere, mate, doing the humble himself, to now be fighting in the hydro on a massive card like this, and the first MMA event in a long time in the hydro. So it's pivotal in my career. It's monumental. So it's going to be a big milestone for me. It's the first time I've fought in Scotland for a long time since my pro debut. So it's going to be great, and but like I said, I'm trying not to get too amped up, not too hyped up about it. I'm just trying to focus on the job at hand, but I'm going to relish in the celebrations and winning this fight when I do win.
In 30 pro fights, I fought at the 03 Arena in Dublin, I think fight 22 or something like that, so I was about 8 years in. They're on one of the most established shows in the world, PFL. they've got multi-fight contracts, so they can come in there and just their careers only going to skyrocket with the opportunities that they've got.
Walking out with the flag will be a special experience, and the hydro as well.
I think I was happy as like both our pro debuts, both undefeated. It would have been a good match-up at amateur, it's a good match-up at pro, so just keep focusing on what I need to do for it.
Scotland are just something else. Like they've got great passion. Scotland are always very passionate about anything they do, and I'm telling you right now, when PFL get to that hydro and they listen to how loud the crowd is, they'll be back. They'll be back very, very soon.
From 𝗘𝗨𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗘